Welcome back to In the Business. Today's guest is someone who embodies the next generation of changemakers, a young entrepreneur, public speaker, and the founder of LMSUK, a company that's transforming how artists and creators build their presence in the digital age. We spoke about the next generation of entrepreneurs, how to build confidence with your public speaking, and how creators can turn their talent and passion into stable income. We hope you enjoy this episode. So you frequently work with young entrepreneurs. I just wanted to start this episode by saying, are you inspired by the next generation of entrepreneurs coming through? Because we get a bad rap, I feel.
I'm incredibly excited, and I feel like, in all business landscapes, it's evolving, it's changing, and the next generation of entrepreneurs they're coming into a world where everything's globalized. You don't have to sell to the people in your town, in your city. I mean, the world truly is kind of their market. So it's a really exciting time to be an entrepreneur, and I feel like the level of support, like we can learn off the best brains in the world just from a YouTube or a book or a clip. I think it's really, really exciting, and I think young entrepreneurs have a lot to learn, but I think their attitude and the way that they have this access, it will lead to some incredible successes.
Yeah, it seems to me like a lot of young people do actually want to go into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, I speak to these young people doing these talks all over the country, and the two things I've really come away learning is that these young people, in my opinion, they want two things. They want passion. They want to do something they're making a difference in, they're passionate about, and they want freedom. They don't want to work a 9 to 5 in an office. So whether that's being an entrepreneur or working in a workplace that allows for that freedom, I think is so important, and something that I've definitely taken into my business.
Yeah, sure. Well, tell us a bit about your journey, because I mean, you're a young guy, but you've already won loads of awards. You're a public speaker, a founder. How did this all begin? Take us right back to the start.
So at college, I literally joined an entrepreneurship, little club or group, if you like, and I started a clothing brand with another guy called Fernando, and it was really successful. It did really well, and basically we fell into success because our suppliers didn't get us the material in time, and people were really begging for these t-shirts and clothing, and people thought it was really exclusive in demand, and really it was just because I couldn't get enough stock. So it did really, really well, and we had incredible people endorse it. But my passion was always music, so it got to a point where I was like, no, I'm gonna start myself. I moved away from it. So at college, I would have been 17, 18. I was like, right, I'm going to start LMSUK. And I would literally go to shows, right? And I'd have a t-shirt on that says LMSUK staff on the back. And I would go up to security and I'd be like, I've got an interview with Tom Grennan in 10 minutes. You need to let me through. And I reckon about 80% of the time it actually worked. And you do this great content with Tom Grennan, and he'd recommend me to Noel Gallagher or Sam Fender, the Kooks, Loyal Kana. And it rolled, and it just built and built and built. And I feel like reputation is a massive thing. At the start, I would just say yes to everything, and I took on too much. And you learn and evolve as an entrepreneur, whereas now I protect the reputation of my company and myself like you wouldn't believe, because that's what gets us in these doors.
Did you actually have an interview with Tom Grennan planned then? Did you just go, was that all a bluff?
Yeah, all a bluff. All of it.
Well, and they let you in backstage, and you got to meet him.
Yeah, honestly, guys, it's that whole trick. If you go anywhere with a ladder, they'll let you in. I just went in with confidence, going. In my head, this is me at 17, 18. I'm like, what is the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say no. So you can't believe the shock when they're like, yeah, go through. I'm like, oh my God, he's over there. Right. Okay. And then you have to bluff to him yeah, we organized this. And now we get invited places. It's a lot easier.
That's
but
incredible.
Back in the day, no one knew who we were. And, I also think that they kind of respect it. They kind of respect the fact that this young person is, shooting a shot. And I think that's definitely helped. There's been people that really supported me because they've seen the attitude, I guess.
That takes some guts. That is truly brave. What was the artist's reaction when you just turned up and I want to interview you? Did they say yes for the most part?
I remember distinctly, getting backstage. I can say this because I'm good friends with them now. I got backstage at Isle of Wight Festival, and I remember being in the main stage, like dressing rooms, thinking, how the fuck have I got here? Like, what am I going to do now? And I'm hiding in these corridors, and like Catfish and Barman are in one room, and Tom Grennan's in another, and I just thought, again, it went back to what is the worst that's going to happen? They're going to kick me out. So I literally went downstairs, knocked on. I went, hi, Tom, I've got this interview with you booked. You okay to do it now, or do you want to do it in a few minutes? And they'd be like, oh, okay, sure. And you just do it. And make great content. Like I remember last year we get invited now to main stage. So this is all like above board for the last kind of 8 years. But last year at Isle of Wight, we got all the celebrities doing the boxing games. So we had like Blossoms with these headbands on doing some boxing, and it went viral. And you build these trusts with these artists, and in the music industry, you know, things go around quickly. So we build our reputation.
Sure. Well, tell us a bit about your company and what you do with LMS UK.
So LMS UK is social media management for musicians, and I was obviously doing content with some of these huge artists, and I was like, right, I want to level the playing field because there's so many talented independent artists that I go and see live. And I think, how have they not? Why are they not global? Why are they not winning Brits? Well, they're so talented. And it came down to they were creatives, they were great at the music, but they didn't understand marketing. They weren't good at socials. They didn't understand the business side of things. And when they tried to get help, it cost thousands of pounds a month. So I knew there was a real gap in the market, and we just dived in and we were like, right, we're going to do affordable social media management. I mean, we have free communities. We have an app that's £10 a month, and then you've got our packages that start from £129 a month. It's really affordable, and then we built up on these results that we get for artists, and we went from little LMS UK on the south coast of England to a truly global company, and we handpick 200 artists that we work with across the globe. We get them to full-time artists. So we build them 1,000 engaged fans, and at that point, it's a massive turning point, because instead of you going out to the industry, fighting for festivals, support slots, managers, booking agents, they come to you because they go, wow, they've got 1,000 fans, and they think money. £8.30 a month's 100 grand a year. So they're like,
Yeah.
right, okay, now we'll come in and monetize. And yeah, we've got some incredible case studies and really built, and I've got massive plans. I think the app we've built, I want to keep my service very exclusive, very personal. I know all my
Yeah.
200 artists by name, but that app, I want it to be a real global product. So in the next 5 to 10 years, I've written my office at Portsmouth Guildhall. We want 10,000 users. We want it to be a real music community that artists can come in and be like, do you trust this contact? Is this a good person to work with? Is this work for money? And just build a really good support network for them.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure you're going to get it. I feel like people who write stuff on their walls, they achieve it.
Well, it's worked for me for the last 10 years. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there sort of a defining moment when you thought, I can build this, and you started building it? And how did you actually take that step one to build it?
yeah, I think it actually came out of one of the toughest moments. So I wanted, instead of waiting for a booking agent to get the support artist that I wanted, right? So I wanted my artists to play live in front of a lot of people, but normally need a booking agent, so they're the gatekeepers of our industry to do it. I was like, I'm going to put on my own event, and then I can just choose the support acts. And I spent the entire business bank account on Charlie Sloth, right? I was like, it's just left BBC Radio 1. It's going to Apple Music. I saw my Reading Festival. The tent was packed. I was like, perfect. Spent the whole bank account on it. And they got to the night. I opened the doors and no one was there, or very few
Oh,
people.
yeah.
And like, boys, I remember like just genuine tears coming down my face. And it was a horrible, because your friends and family are there, and you feel like you're a massive failure, and you feel very disappointed. And I borrowed some money off my parents the next day. We went to Wagamama's, never going back. Too many bad memories, and we made a list of 12 things we did wrong, and we still use that list today. And we went back to where we failed to try and put on another massive event in Portsmouth with Tion Wayne, and it was a huge success. We did multiple events, and then it went to COVID, and I was like, oh my God, we can't do the events. What are we going to do? I just saw screen time go through the roof. So I just thought, right, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to retrain all of my event staff for social media. So it was a massive risk. It was a massive gamble. And that first week of COVID was very, very stressful, not knowing how we're going to pay staff. but that's what turned us to a global company. We literally went from little LMS UK helping artists on the South Coast. Over COVID, we're probably the only music business in that time to grow 3 times. I mean, it was incredible for us. Then we got out of COVID and started doing some events and bits and bobs. So
Yeah.
I think from one of the lowest points came one of our biggest, and I think that's just the way of an entrepreneur.
Often the way it is. Yeah.
Yes.
Can you
Can we
tell us
talk-
about that list?
Yeah.
Those 12 things that went wrong. Can you tell us about what they were?
Yeah, I'm not going to go in depth because that's it's definitely our USP. But in short, you can't get distracted by a big name. So we thought Charlie Sloth, it'll sell out, no problem. And we didn't do the proper marketing, right? Whereas when we had T on there, we did adverts 7 times. We wanted people to see it 7 times at least, minimum, in that city who enjoyed that kind of music. And that's what got to sell out in a few days because we were so good at the marketing. Like, what I figured out in that period was 10 years ago, people wanted shiny things. They wanted MacBooks, they wanted the latest iPhones. Nowadays, people want to purchase emotion. So the advert wasn't Tion on stage like this. It was the crowd going wild, the feeling of being in that room. That's what we were selling. And it made a massive difference. And I feel like I talk about this on my brand new talk. So I go in and I speak to business professionals and I go, this is why you should use LinkedIn. This is why you should post. We live in a digital currency now and you need to be visible. And they think very logically. But the issue is, guys, is marketing isn't logical. So, and I give them examples of this. I go, if someone said to me, I'm going to make a drink, it's going to be tiny, it's going to be really expensive, and statistically it's going to taste bad, you would never buy that product. You would never invest. Yet Red Bull are the second biggest drinks company in the world and the only ones to compete with Coca-Cola. And they look at me and they're like, oh yeah, he is right. And then they go, but what's the return on investment? And I go, I'll give you another example. A guy called James comes to you and he says, I'm going to make a Hoover. It's going to be 10 times more expensive than any other Hoover. But I think it's going to do really well. And it's going to be a status thing that people want to say, oh, I own this. I would kick him out my room. If someone came to me and invested like that, I would kick him out. Yet James Tyson's one of the most successful entrepreneurs this country has ever produced. And then I can really see him sit there like, okay, marketing isn't numbers then. Marketing is more of it's a feeling, right? And I really win them over with this one. I say, right, Maserati were having huge sales problems and their sales team were like, right, we need to do discounts or cheaper cars. And they have a brilliant head of marketing. And he said, no, instead of marketing at car shows, we're going to go market at boat shows and private jets. And we're going to market and put the cars there. And their sales team were like, what? Why would you do that? And it worked a treat, because if you're going to look at planes, jets and boats that cost 40 million pounds, 200 grand is pocket change.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Genius.
sales went through
Absolute
the roof.
genius.
You cannot look at marketing as numbers, as return on investment, because the best companies in the world don't. And if you're doing that, you're going to stay a small company, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, if you were to summarize how you are supposed to look differently at it, what would you kind of describe that approach as?
It's the way you make people feel, right? And there's an amazing speaker called Jeff Ram, and he talks about celebrity service. So for me, I want all of my clients to feel celebrity service. And this is how I teach my team. I go, who's your favorite artist? And they'll go to me, Josh, Arctic Monkeys. I go, if they were on our service, how would you treat them? And they go, right, well, I'd open my calendar availability. I would reply within this amount of time. I would try and get them some freebies, do some extra bits. I go, brilliant. I want you to treat every single client like that. Roll out the red carpet, like treat people in that kind of special way. And that's where we've seen our best results. And that's why I said at the start of this podcast, like my 200 artists, I speak to every single month. Me, CEO, founder, I've got their number, I've got their email, they hear from me, because that's the celebrity service that we want to provide. And at the end of the day, marketing is how people perceive you and how you make people feel. So when I go and do these big talks, I've got a talk at the O2 in London in 3 weeks for Ditto X. People are coming up to me, they know who I am, they know LMS UK, and they know the reputation that we have because of the way we've marketed ourselves as a brand. We're for artists, we get them full time. And the key word that I use in all of our posts is progress. progression and progress. If you look at my LinkedIn, the business Instagram, you will see that word again and again and again.
Yeah.
When
Can
it
we-
comes to these big public speaking events, you're still a young guy yourself, and speaking in big events is like some people's biggest fear. How did you get over that sort of stepping stone of it being people's biggest fear and get good at it?
Harrison, it's a great question. And instead of telling you, I want to show you, right? So
Go on.
I remember being 15 years old, and at school I went for head boy, and I used to hate public speaking. Being in front of people on stage, crowd, that would have been my biggest fear. I was a very shy lad at school, and I won head boy. And you'd have to do these assemblies. The school was about 1,200 pupils at the time, so huge. And I was rubbish. That's the truth. By forcing myself to do that on a regular basis, you build that confidence, and now it's something I love. I love being on stage. I love helping progress entrepreneurs, musicians, or business professionals. So here at my desk at home, I have the letter of me winning head boy framed, because people say to me, they go, Josh, what's your best achievement? You've worked with superstars, you've won this, you've got a great team. My biggest achievement personally, being selfish, was winning head boy, because none of this happens without that.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I feel like myself, throughout school, I definitely avoided every single one. I think I
Yeah.
probably did like one
I was sat at the back of the
speaking.
classroom praying teachers wouldn't pick me.
Yeah, I probably did like one speech in the whole time I was in secondary school. And recently now I have been just forcing myself to just do it, because I felt like if I do it and then I'll become more numb to it, if that makes sense, and better at it. And then
It's the only way,
eventually,
isn't it?
Like,
hopefully, I'll get okay.
I still get nervous going on stage every time, but I've reframed it in a way that goes, nerves is a good thing. It means I want to do well. It
Yeah.
means I care. I
Yeah.
think if you can just reframe it in a positive way, you'll be well. And I think with stuff like that, preparation's key. Like, people look at my student entrepreneurship talk. I get bookings all around the country every single week. If they saw how many times I've done that in a mirror to myself at home, they'd realize why,
Yeah.
like, it's not the standard it is.
How did you get to a point where you're like a trusted voice on this? So how are you getting booked all around England?
Honestly, Tom, word of mouth, because other than my LinkedIn page, I don't put it anywhere. And it's just people in
Okay,
that
really?
audience that say, I want this, and they spread it around. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm very, very lucky. I've got an incredible team at LMS UK. Adam, my COO, runs the day-to-day operations. The team are just phenomenal. My management, my team leader, they kind of run the business now, which has allowed to free my time up to do these talks. But it's never been one that I've kind of pushed. I've not made a website or really kind of built a funnel around it, because I'm very happy just being my entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And when people want to
Yeah.
book me and I'm free and I'm available, sure, I'll go do it. But it's not something that I've
Incredible.
consciously try to push. It's been all word of mouth,
Yeah.
really.
I saw
feel
that. After you go.
I feel like we've all sat through quite a lot of boring talks, but BIMM University said that your speech left a lasting impression. Now, what approach made it leave that lasting impression? Like, what do you do differently for that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like I have an amazing mentor in my talks, right? I've got to give him a shout out. His name's Chris Lube, and Chris was Nelson Mandela's security guard. So he goes all around the world doing these incredible talks about him meeting the Queen and the lessons Nelson's given him and his upbringing and with apartheid. It's incredible. And I'm really lucky to have him as a mentor. And I actually gave him my 3 presentations. And what I love about Chris, right, because normally when you do this stuff, people are very nice and they go, yeah, this is good, Josh, well done. Chris rinsed me. Every single page, just he was like, that's rubbish, take that out, you don't need this, why is this? And I love that. Like, there's just
Yeah.
something so beautiful about that, because it's the first person that's really done that. And it just made them so much better. And one of the things he taught me was, Josh, you need to shock people. That first thing that comes out of your mouth, if you're not making them laugh or making them gasp, you're done for. So I make a real conscious effort. The first thing is it's a real good hook. And yeah, it kind of build on from there. The first bit is very much story based and teaching them a transformation, whereas the end is very much debate. I want to argue with my audience. I know that sounds very strange, but I want discussions and I want people being passionate, and that is something that I always try and do. So I feel like if you're more involved in it, you're going to come away taking those lessons away.
Fascinating. You have a talk called MUSICPRENEUR. So do you think creatives need to think more like entrepreneurs? Is that something they need to transition to doing?
100%. And I feel like, if you're so talented in this world, and it really upsets me. Like, I think about how many independent artists are incredible, like their music's phenomenal, or maybe it's an artist in a different creative industry, and they're never going to be seen and they're never going to be heard because they can't market themselves and they don't understand the business side. So I go on that talk, and it's not about getting eyes to, money, 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 this and this. It's more like, I want to build you a sustainable career so you can do what you're passionate about, because the world needs it, the world wants it, and at the end of the day, exposure doesn't pay the bills. So it's a really important talk for musicians and creators alike to go, okay, it's a big wide world, marketing a business. Josh, what do I need to focus on? What are my next steps? And I want that practicality taken away for them. And it's a really fun one that I really enjoy doing.
That sounds like a great talk. Yeah. So, I mean, a musician who isn't Ed Sheeran, can they make a good living writing original music, do you think?
100%. And I feel like everyone will say, oh, you can't make it as a musician, it's too competitive. What a load of nonsense. If you actually look at the numbers, at how much money independent musicians make, it's incredible. And you'll see more and more big names like your Ed Sheerans go independent because they don't want an expensive bank loan as a record deal. They want to own their music rights. They see it as their pension, as their earnings. And artists will come to me and go, Josh, I can't do it. And I go, right, I'm going to build a fan base, 1,000 engaged fans. I'm going to get you a manager to monetize that, and then a booking agent to get the live exposure, get gigs. And they go, okay, right, cool. That's going to take a couple of years though. So what should I do in the meantime? And I go, well, you've got sync deals, you've got writing for other people, you've got studio bits, you've got collaborations, subscriptions. Like, get your best fans to buy a subscription for you. There are so many ways to make money as an original artist. I've met artists that do one channel extremely well. They just write music for movies, and they pay extreme amounts of money.
Sync deals,
yeah. And so, in truth, yes, it's competitive. Yes, it is difficult. But my goodness, it is easily possible with the right people around you and the right attitude, and I won't have anyone else any different.
Yeah. So you've ultimately got to build a small but dedicated fan base. Is that right? That's kind of what I took away from that. Is you've got to have, like you said, 1,000 super fans, I guess.
Exactly that. That is all you need. And I was working with the lottery winners who've got 2 number 1 albums now. And I said to Tristan, their manager, I said, you've got a fan club. At the time, I had about 1,000. Now it's about 3,000. And it's on Facebook. It's a bit of an older audience. And I said to him, that 1,000 engaged fans, like, how much of the band's income is that now? 2 number 1s. They supported Robbie Williams on tour. And he was like, 80%. I went, 80%? He was like, yeah, because they bring all their friends and family. They buy every bit of merch. Even I really do think it has that much of an impact. And it really stuck with me.
That's very inspiring, especially for any young musicians listening, that you don't have to be Ed Sheeran to make it. You can focus on getting those 1,000 mega fans. Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to touch upon the mentor. We said it a second ago. How did you actually find your mentor? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, I am always on LinkedIn, and I'm always messaging people on there and just being really passionate. And I feel like a great little tip from this is never go in going, will you mentor me? That's a big commitment for busy people. But I'll go in and go, can I ask a question? Can we jump on a Zoom? Like, I love your job. I love what you do. I'm really interested. Do you mind if I could just give you a quick call? And then mentorship builds off the back of that, because it's only a little quick call, and that kind of's done really, really well for me. And I still do that now. I did it at 17. I would message Becky Hill and Pete Tong's manager, and I was like, you've got a show at the O2. Can I come along and learn off your team? I'll make teas and coffees. Can I just come? And he was like, yeah. So I'm backstage at 18. There's global superstars everywhere. I'm networking. Like, my life depends on it. And you build these contacts, and it literally comes from a LinkedIn message. And that's the same with Chris on my speaking. That's the same with my mentors in business that I get to lean on. And I'm always looking for people that where I want to get to, and picking their brains, really.
Sure.
Okay.
Just to start wrapping up the conversation, so you're the CEO of your company. What is one of the lessons that you've learned about leadership, especially as a young leader?
Leadership is entirely how you make people feel. It's as simple as that. Like, for me, real self-assurance is wanting the best for others, and I think that's something that you learn as you go. Like, simply the way you make your team feel or your clients is going to have such a big impact. And I feel like the most magnetic thing on earth is liking your own energy. Like, if you get to a point where you go, yeah, and that self-approval, it'll make you untouchable in any room, and that's not an arrogant thing to say. It's a confidence thing.
Yeah,
And I feel like
100%.
I think that is really, really the key. And if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you just need the most elite mindset, and you have got to never give in. And my talk, Student Entrepreneurship, is failing forwards. As an entrepreneur, if I'm not failing in a certain area, I am worried that we're not pushing ourselves in the right way, or we haven't got the right KPIs. And people, like, they look at me like I'm an alien. They're like, what do you mean you want to fail? And I'm like, you've been brought up your whole life, school, college, university, work, where failure is a bad thing. As an entrepreneur, I think it's brilliant. If I'm failing, I've got the data of why I'm failing. I know why I'm failing. I know I can make an impact to make a difference. I think it's brilliant. And when my team fail, I love it because we know where to go from there. So that would be my advice.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Just one
Thank
final
you.
question before we let you go. Where do you see your company and sort of the wider music industry heading in the next few years?
Great question. So for me, LMSUK, we've got some amazing results now where we've taken artists from Costa Coffee to doing arena tours. It's fantastic. And they've got big teams, and I'm really passionate about that. But we need to do that regularly. I want the ability to blow up an artist like this. So we're working on our systems and our network and our communities so we're able to do that. We train our team every single week. And I think that's where getting 1% better each week will achieve that goal, and the 10,000 users on the backstage pass. In terms of kind of the industry, I think that it's really clever, actually. Music and marketing can fit into this, right? Bad marketing is telling people, good marketing is showing people. And I think it's the same with music. If you're there going, listen to my new single, this is my new single, it's releasing on Friday, telling them, okay, you're getting awareness out. If you can show people, you can make them feel, you can get an emotional connection across, that is brilliant marketing. And I think that's the best place you can get to. And the industry that I work in the music is reputation and how you make people feel. So if you can do that in a great way and get people to buy into your personality, your brand, I think that's key. And I say to all artists, the best artists I've worked with, all the case studies you see behind me, you can dress as them to Halloween. And I'm, what on earth are you on about, Josh? You dress as them to Halloween. I go, I promise you, if your brand is good enough, they'll be able to dress like you, talk like you, do your little quotes, do your little annotations. And they look at me and they're like, and I go, and I show them every year I dress up as an artist, right? So I went as Liam
That's
Gallagher
great.
last
Yeah.
year, I had my big Parker on, and I was like kind of going around. This weekend I'll be going as David Bowie and dressing up very colourful in a different way. The list goes on and on and on. And I feel like, yeah, that's a
That's a really good way of thinking about it. Really good. Yeah. I lied about the last question. We've got one more. So how old are you?
I'm 27 years old.
Okay. So we usually ask our guests what they would have done differently when they were 20. But we'll change it for you. We'll go back to 17 when you're first starting. What would you have done differently, if there is something you would have done differently?
Oh, that's a great question. Like, I don't regret anything. Like, I think it's all helped me get to where I am now. What I would tell myself, it's really difficult. There's two things I'd probably tell myself. I'd say, Josh, believe in your instincts. Your head and your heart can lie to you. It can rationalize anything, but your gut will never lie to you. Trust your gut, because I've had gut feelings before and I've talked myself out of it and it's not ended up well. And I'd also say my best mentality, the best version of myself, is when I see every problem as an opportunity, because I was so results focused when I started out. I'll be happy when I get this. We'll be successful when we get that. Actually, everything's a win when your goal is just to experience it. Success isn't a goal, it's not an achievement, it's actually that process and that journey. I feel like hearing that from myself at 27 would be like, and then
yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Awesome to talk to you. Thanks for listening to another episode of In the Business. We hope you enjoyed that one. I think I'm going to call that guy the MUSICPRENEUR. What a cool guy. How do you think that went? That was really interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was one of my favourite ones for sure. I feel like I say that most weeks now, but I feel like we do. The story that he has is very real.
It's very inspiring.
And the way he broke into it is very fascinating. How he said, "I have an interview with you," even though he didn't, and he broke in that way.
So
it's very
inspiring. That was great.
It goes back to the different way of doing it. Do you know what I mean?
That was faking it till you make it to the extreme.
But it's like being creative.
Yeah.
You know, it's doing something a little bit different to what everyone else is doing. Do you stand out a bit
as well, which is quite a good mantra. Like, what do I have to lose? Like, ask yourself that when you're starting to think, what do you have to lose?
And Rohan actually said that as well, and he was like, you know what, if I piss off absolutely everybody in my circle, I'll still have a roof to live under. And he thinks like he couldn't piss off everyone. So it's like, you know, what do you have to lose?
Yeah. I also was interested about artists sort of thinking like entrepreneurs. I thought that was a very interesting point.
Yeah.
And that you can make a steady income as a musician, whether this is very focused on musicians, but whether you don't have to be Ed Sheeran. You don't have to be at the top 1% of global streams. You can make a living as a smaller artist with a very dedicated fan base.
Yeah.
Which is useful for all the creatives out there who are listening. I really like the point about the Halloween for branding. I thought that was great because if you turn up as Bob Dylan to a Halloween party, you know it's
very
Bob
distinct.
Dylan. Or David Bowie, like he's going as. I don't think that's just related to musicians. I think that, like you said, Steve Jobs. You could go as Steve Jobs and people know.
I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
What is the Tom Mumford branding?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. I went on a run this morning. I was like, what the hell am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
I had an existential crisis.
I mean, maybe it's like the curly hair, long on the back.
Yeah. I think if we have him on again, I want to talk a bit more about what is a brand. Like,
but
is it just clothes? Is it the way you act?
The question would be is that natural or is that something that you decide? So like for me,
I think it's decided.
The kind of ginger hair, do I do something a little bit more? Do I like, do you know what I mean?
It's probably a mixture, isn't it? You use the parts that you have.
Yeah, and exaggerate them or something.
Yeah. Well, if we have him on again, which I hope.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive into that a little bit more.
Dive into that because how do you actually build brand?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah. Not asking, but,
nah, we should have, but
really
it's hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting point. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was really, really interesting. So,
thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.